Hello everyone. So this is the second video on the React journey, and the title of the today video is state and props. Okay, so let's start it. State and props. Okay, so this is a fresh app with nothing on the app, and I just wrote hello world here, which is reflected here. And okay, so I will tell you what is props. Okay, so props is basically communication between the components. Okay, so in a React, what we do, we divide the components. We divide a component into small pieces and use them together, right? And we need to make communication between the components. We need to send data between the components, right? So for that, we introduce a term called props. Okay, so we use component at a place and we send data to that component, right? And then that will be rendered. So if we see the live example, then it will be more clear. Okay, let's make a component called card. Okay, give it a folder name component slash card slash index dot jsx. Oh no, card, and inside card we can give a name index.jsx. Okay, const card equals to, and let's make a div class class name. Let's give it a class, will be later. Let's give it a class name container. Okay, then inside container we will give a p tag name. Okay, so we will write name here, zone do. Then we will write his age. Okay, age will be 21, and then we will write its occupation. Not occupation, what we can write, we can write his address, right? Address will be anything you can give. I will give my city name. So okay, and we can export this, export default card, right? Now we can use this card component in the app.jsx, right? We can give card jsx. Okay, now if you see on the screen, you can see name, zone, age 21, and address Bhaktapur, Kathmandu. Let's give it container. We can write css here directly. I will give border 1 pixel solid red, and padding 10 pixel. Okay, so we made a card, right? Let's not go to the css part more. We made a card component, but I want card for like June, but I want multiple card, right? I want card for another person, right? A B C person, but I can't write this same code again and again, right? If I need another card, I can't do this. Like if I need another card, can I do this, right? I can do this and change the name, right? I can change A B C. I can do this, and I can see A B C and A B C different names, right? But is this a good approach? No, because we are using the same cheese again and again, right? We are using same cheese again and again. We are like we are doing copy and paste. But if we use React, we won't duplicate a thing, right? The main component, main idea of React is to avoid the duplicate and focus on reusable component. Okay, so what we make it reusable component. That means you can reuse this component again and again and again. But how? Because we have already declared name here, age, address, right? We have already given. How can we reuse it, right? We can reuse it by passing the props. So here comes the props. Okay, so if we need to duplicate, we can just duplicate 3 cards, right? And I have 3 cards, but the name is same. The name is still same, but I need card for any person, right? If I render one card, it should be for zone. If I render another card, it should be for B person, and if I render another card, it should be for C person. So how we can do it? Now we need to make variables. Instead of zone, I will write name. Instead of age, I will write age like this. And instead of address, I will write address, address. Now we declare the variable, right, or define the variable. But before defining, we also need to declare the variable. So here we need to write age, name is address, and these things called name, age, and address are called props. Okay, forget it for now. And you have one card, you have no name. Now you can pass the name from here. Name equals to zone do, age equals to 21, and address equals to Bhaktapur. Okay, so you can see the card for this. Now you need card for another person. Okay, you can just paste it and pass the value. Ado, age will be like if 28, address it Lalitpur. Now you can make multiple cards. So what we are doing here is we are making one card component. This is a card component and you are reusing it. Okay, so you are making one component card and you are reusing it. So what is the advantage of this? So what is the advantage? Okay, let's talk about advantage. If your client says I need to make this name bold, what you will do? We won't make this name, we go to this name, make it bold, we go to this name, make it bold. We don't do that. We change it in one place. We say style font weight, say bold. Now every font will be bold, right? So this is how we can reuse the component, and this is the advantage of reusing the component. We can make complex component, right? For example, you have buttons, you can make multiple buttons. And if you have a modal, right, modal, if you know or not, you can make you can reuse one component and make and use it everywhere, right? So there are many advantages. Let's go and make another component, button index.jsx, and let's make a component const button equals to, okay, return. Just open this empty fragment and button, and what is button name will be login export default button. Now you need a button in a card. Okay, let's suppose here you need a button. You need to import button component which is already built, and you can add the button here, and you can see the login button here. But you need login also, you need button also here, button. So here is the login and here is let's keep it different. Okay, we'll give it different name. So here is we need different buttons at a place, right? So for card we need one kind of button, and for another thing we need different kind of button. Inside card we have different button. Okay, so how we can pass the same component with different use, right? So we can do this. We can pass title, and we can add title here. And if you go here, so this button is for login. Okay, Okay, and this button inside a card is for different thing. Login, sorry, title equals to print. This button is used to print the identity card. Okay, so we have different uses. Now the clients want the card button to be of different color and this login button of to be of different color. So let's go to our button and give it a props. We have style first. Okay, background, and I need this background to be of anything, right? Variable, so I pass the props here. And color, this color means text color, so I also pass the color. And we can give padding to the button. I'll give 20 pixel of padding. Then that is so much more. And we can give width of 150 pixel. Say it is a minimum width, so it will be extended after if the title is long. And we can remove the border none. Okay, looks good. Okay, so for login we need a different background. We need background of color black. So our button becomes black, and we can pass color white so we can see it. FFF. Now our button, this button is different and this button is different. Now we can go to the card and change the background. Let's suppose this background is of red and our color is of white. So what we did, we used the same button component and made the different styling. Now their function is also different, right? On clicking this, different things should happen, and on clicking on this, different things should happen. So we have an on click function on a button. And on click, if you know JavaScript well, you know about on click. On click you can pass, and here you can go and write on click what is that, set. We can run different function, right? We can run on login, and we can make one login function. You can say alert heads, alert you have been logged in. You can make any function here, right? And in a card you can go and okay, here you can pass on click any function name you want, const on click alert. Here you can say your ID is printed. Now if you press this login, it will say you have been logged in, and if you say this, it says your ID is printed. Okay, so this is how we can make a component reusable. So we have lots of advantage of components, right? We need to only change at one place, and in every other place it will be reflected, right? And if some error comes, we can debug in one place, right? So there are many advantages of components. And we have another one things in components, like suppose you want this button to be red everywhere else, but in some places it will be black. What we can do, we can make a default value red, right? What like I need to say, like you have 50 buttons at a project, 50 buttons, and 49 buttons has background color red, and one button has background color black. So you don't want to go every button and give background color, because it will be red everywhere, right? In only one place it will be black. So what we can do is we can pass the default value, background equals to red. You can do this, yes, this. And if you go to the card and remove the background, it will be red. It is taking default value. And if you also remove this background, it will take default value and it will become red. But if you want different else, you can just give the color. So this is how we can make the component. Now let's go and learn another new thing called state. So I told you about props. Now let's know about state. So state is something that holds your value. Okay. For example, you are running a counter that counts every time you press a button. You need to hold that count somewhere, right? In some variable or in some place. So in React, we have a hook. We have a hook called use state. So use state will hold your variables and helps to update the variable. Okay. So how we can check it here? Okay, I will go to app. I can remove this card, right? We don't have any use now. I can use this button. So I need a button login. Let's give it a name, counter. On pressing a counter, I need to increase the value by 1. Okay. So let's make a use state. Const, it will have two variables, state and set state, equals to use state. Okay. So let's know about this first. So this use state is a hook that will hold your variable. Okay. It holds variable here in between this parenthesis. And we have state and set state. State is a variable that holds your value. Okay. And I mean that gives your current value. And set state is a function that updates your value. Okay. So we have three things here. Use state will hold your variable. It is a hook. State gives the current variable, right? It gives the current state. It gives what the current value is, and set state is used to update the variable. Okay. Now let's take an example and see state. I print my state here, so it will show nothing here because we don't have anything in the use state. So we can use default value in the use state. Okay, let's give a use default value 0, and you can see 0 here. And if we give it some styling and make font size bloody big, like 40 pixel, you can see your 0. And okay, so it is 0. Now what I want is, on pressing this counter, this 0 should be 1 and 2, 3 respectively. So on pressing this button, we have a function called onLogin. Okay. So inside onLogin, you need to make some logic. So state gives us the current value. So current value is 0. It is giving us the 0. Use state holds the variable. It is now currently holding 0. If we change this to 8, it will give us 8 because it holds the current value. It is 0. It holds, it gives. And set state is used to update the variable. It is a function. So how the function works? Set state parenthesis. Now we need to increase this state by 1. Okay. So in the state we will add 1. Why? Because state gives us the current value. Okay. So current value is 0. And if I add 0 to 1, it will be 1. So use state will be here, it will hold 1, and set state on this state will gives us 1, right? So this is how it works, and it updates the variable. So it updates the variable every time by 1. Okay. So if you see the example, if you press counter, it will be 1. So here you can't see it, but here 1 will sit, and this state will print the current value. What is the current value? Current value is the 1. And set state is updating the state every time by 1. Okay. So okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This state is, yeah, this is how it works. And if we refresh, it will come to 0 because we refresh the code and everything will be restarted, and it will take the default value, which is 0. Okay, so state gives us the current value. Set state updates the state, and use state hold the variable. Okay, how do you update the state? We write something on the set state, and it will update the new value, because on clicking the button counter, this function is triggering, and this set state is updating the state by 1. So state will be the current value, so it updates it to the current value plus 1. So if I press 1, 1, 2, 3, this is how it works. And if I give another example, I have a button, this button is login. Okay, and I have another button, logout. Button title equals to logout, and background equals to black, on click equals to on login. We'll make it different, give me a little bit of time, and color will be white, white. FFF. I have login and logout button. On logout, let's make a new function. Function on logout equals to, okay, so let's move it to the top. Let's work with boolean, or let's work with string. Logout. Okay. Logout. Okay, state. So if you I refresh the code, what you can see on use state, logout. So it is printing logout. And on clicking the login button, I will write logged in, and on logout, let's say logout, or we can change it to login. Okay, so we have login. If I press login, it will be login. If I press logout, it will be logout, right? You know the how set state works, right? You know, set state updates our states, right? So currently we have logout, so we can see logout, and this state gives the current value. Current value is logout. Set state updates the variable. So on clicking the button, I am updating my set state by login, and on logout, I am updating my set state by logout, right? So you can see logout initially. If you press login, then login. If you press logout, then logout, right? So this is a simple work of how use state works, right? Now I need to show you another thing called conditional rendering. It is much essential on the React. So what we are doing is so if you notice, we are writing the JavaScript code. This is JavaScript code on the HTML, right? So we are writing JSX, JavaScript with HTML. So I'm talking about the conditional rendering. So conditional rendering means rendering on the basis of some condition. Sorry. So we don't need to show login and logout button once, right? If we are login, we need to show logout button so we can log out, and if we are logout, we need to show login button to login, right? So in this condition, we need to use conditional rendering to render the things on the basis of some condition. Okay, so when do you show the login button? When you are logout, right? So you can simply compare state equals to logout. You need to make the name same, logout. If it is logged out, you need to show the login button. If it is logged out, we need to show the login button, and if it is not log out means we can just use or, you need to show logout button. So if you are log out, log in. If you are logged in, you are logged out, right? Okay, so state is the current value. We always compare with the current value. So state is if state is logged out, then okay, this means if state is logged out, then show this button, and if it is login, then show this button. We have only two states, log out and login. So we don't need to compare with the login. We can simply compare with the logout. If state is logged out, log out, then we need to show this button. If it is not log out, then show this button. Simple. And if we need to work with contradiction, is not equals to, if is not equals to login, then show this button, otherwise show this button. You can do this also. You can use the contradiction. You can this also. And okay, we have another thing also, username zone. Okay, so something is giving us the logged in username, and if we, yes, we are log out, right? So in log out we don't need to show the username, right? If you are login, then you only show the username. If you are log out, then you don't show the username. So how can we use the single conditional? So if state is login, then only we show the logout button. You can use ternary operator, and it will give you this. If you are logged out, no username. If you are login, then only the username. So this is how you can use the single conditional. For double condition you can use this. For single condition you can this, right? So this is how the conditional rendering work, showing something on the basis of condition. So if we revise the today lesson, we read about the props, how we make the component reusable, how we pass the props, and how we make the default props. And we studied about the use state. Use state holds the value, set state give the current value, and set state is used to update the value. And we also read about the conditional rendering, where we can render things on the base of multiple condition, or if we have only one condition. We read this about things. So you can practice making some components. You can make some good UI. Like if you see the movie app, we have different kind of card for the movie. You can make this, and you can practice that. You for state you can also practice, and conditional rendering also. Might be we will do some project related to this in the next upcoming video. I think with these three things you can do good on UI on front end. So try cloning some website. You can make the Netflix clone for the UI. You can do different things, or we will try doing some project. Okay, so this much for the today video. See you in the next one. Bye bye, good night.